before we open, I really want to start with basketball tonight. Big night for our basketball team returning. I believe it's after 24 or 25 days off, where we will have first 700 students that arrive. Will be in. We have socially distanced seats set up for them. We got concession stands open. We really hope this will be a cool atmosphere. It's a nationally televised game on ESPNU against UCF, and I know our guys are excited. Coaches are excited to be back out on the court. We do hope to have an announcement tomorrow where we're going to open up additional general public tickets for the men's basketball game on Sunday against Cincinnati that will end the season. So I'd stay tuned for that information tomorrow. But really, the reason here today is we're excited that, starting tomorrow, we can have people outside watching our venues. We've had families of student athletes and parents, but we have a great opportunity now to have our students back, which are vital. Our donors, fans, to back in our venues. Now, obviously, it'll be at a smaller capacity, 30%. And really, what we're trying to do, this is kind of a great trial for us to see as we move through the spring and into the fall of what we can do. We are going to allow gatherings, unlimited gatherings to 10 people. We want people to be outside, want people to enjoy. There's nothing better than watching the Pirates compete. We just got to be smart and make sure we're keeping each other safe so we can continue to have that opportunity.
And, with 30% capacity, what's that going to look like in the stands? So are we trying to keep social distance between fans?
Per the executive order, you've got to keep at least 6 feet between fans. We will do that. So you'll see that tomorrow. And then we'll have about 100 and probably 150 in the jungle. They will have assigned seats. Fans are allowed to bring their own seat, but when they come in, then we'll take the seat that is assigned from them. Some people like to sit in their comfortable seats when you're watching a 4-hour baseball game. And then our students will have assigned seats in the right field. So they'll go to the box office, and then they can enter the jungle, but they'll have to go to right field. I think the biggest change for everybody when it comes to the jungle, it's such an unbelievable atmosphere, is you're going to have to stay in a certain area. It's not going to be, I'm going to go see 5 friends over here. We're going to have to stay in confined spaces, and we're going to follow those orders. And we'll bring up Chris Sutton in a minute, but that's important. And we got to follow the orders so we can continue to do this. We got 25 more baseball games, hopefully maybe a regional. So if we can continue to follow orders, I think it's going to be a pretty cool year for the spring for the Pirates.
Ryan, what's the situation as far as tailgating in the lots?
In the lots, right now, we're doing gatherings of 10 people. And really, in individual parking space, you can have chairs, grills, and tents. It's got to fit in your individual parking space or kind of right behind it. We're not going to allow chairs, grills, and tents in empty parking spaces. And that does limit the gathering. So I hope people understand that. If you park your car and you got less than 10 people that you feel comfortable with, I'm always going to tell people I would keep it kind of to your household guests. But if you feel comfortable, you can have your chair and your grill. It'll be hard to put a tent in an individual parking spot. And we are going to monitor that. And I want our fans to understand we're just doing it out of safety. But I think one of the biggest changes will be we're not going to allow things in empty parking spots because that can kind of increase where all of a sudden you've got a gathering of 20 or 30 people.
For people who are in the jungle, will there be a concession stand out there, or will they walk over to the main counter?
No, there'll be a concession stand that will serve food, and then we'll have alcohol as well. And then in the stands, we obviously have a concession. The key is it's per really like the NCAA regional. If you're seated in the jungle, you can go to that concession stand. You just can't go up into the stands. And if you're in the stands, you can't come out to the jungle. And really what it does, it allows us to control capacity. Because right now we're looking at about 1,200 total, and that includes the jungle. And I think what people need to remember is, that's not 1,200, tickets we distributed. You've got student athlete families. You've got visiting team. We have some sponsorship agreements. So you're probably looking at about 800 or 900 tickets we've been able to distribute.
And before we move to Captain Sutton, I was wondering, obviously your players are obviously a main concern as well. What's it look like in terms of COVID protocols for your players as well, making sure they stay safe during this baseball season?
Well, we remain on a very strict testing schedule for our student athletes. So I know our baseball team will get tested today before the series this weekend, and then they'll get tested again on Monday. But our men's basketball, very strict testing. Women's basketball, all sports in season are getting tested, 3 or 4 days a week. And that's what, I tell people all the time, it's been tough for these student athletes. And I think just sitting out here today talking about 30% capacity, it's hard as an administrator because it goes against everything you want. You want your venues full, and you're kind of telling people you can't come. I do have faith that we're going to be able to open this up more and more. But, with Captain Sutton and our chancellor, we'll make sure that we're monitoring everything, and any kind of new developments, whether that's next week or the week after, we'll put them in place.
So for basketball, I'm assuming that the men's band they will not be in the middle section.
And that's standard across the country. Everybody will be in the upper level. But again, I think we have to remember, it's just 2021. We hope, we go into the fall of football, and I know Captain Sutton will tell you the same thing. I'm not saying it's going to be completely normal, but get back to some normalcy. But I still think if you've been in Minges, I think tonight we can have a really cool atmosphere if we can get some students there. It's going to be weird because I've been in Minges for every basketball game, and we haven't had more than 50 people. So I might have to wear earplugs. I forgot what it's like to hear fans.
And I think one of the last things is just, you talked to us about the gatherings. It's going to be applicable to most sports here, if not all. So just kind of put that into words for us about, these gathering protocols are actually going to be spread across the entire athletics.
Yeah, it's for everything. It's for our basketball games this weekend. It's for lacrosse. It's for soccer. I mean, just this weekend, we have, 3-game baseball series. We have 2 men's basketball games. We have a soccer game on Saturday and lacrosse on Sunday. So I feel for Captain Sutton sometimes of all this policing. But, yeah, it's for all of our lots.
Yeah.
And we're just asking people to kind of obey. There's going to be people that are going to stop you and say, hey, maybe we need to have a few people walk away, or let's cut down that gathering. Let's just all be respectful because, what an unbelievable time. I mean, the weather's supposed to really warm up. We got a really good opportunity ahead of us.
We are so excited to have us move a little bit closer to normal than where we were a year ago at this time. We welcome the opportunity to have our fans back in our facilities and in our venues. Pirates want to do things better than anybody else. We want to cheer and support our fans better than anyone else, and any time that we're involved, we want to try to create the most safest environment possible. And in the past, we've dealt with issues with extreme intoxication, lots of drinking, rowdy fans that sometimes create some hostile environments. And now we're having to fight a pandemic that has really disrupted our life, which is a completely different foe that we're all having to face. But I think we're getting to a point now that we can have fans back, that if we do things the right way, we do things the safe way, then we'll be able to continue to build on this. And where we are now, in a month, we may be further down the road, which is the hope.
Yeah, and you talked about in the past, whether it's rowdy fans or not, you guys are there to patrol. So what's it going to look like? We have some more strict protocols, and people need to follow those. So what's it going to look like to keep people contained and following those protocols?
So a lot of what we have to do is through dialogue. We have to encourage those that are coming in to really help police themselves. A lot of us over the last year have had to police our own safety, whether it's wearing a mask, forcing yourself to be 6 foot away from somebody else, or not even gathering with your families around the holidays. And so we're going to continue to lean on our fans to continue to help police themselves. If we see groups that are starting to grow and get beyond 10 people, then we'll engage them and encourage them to separate. We don't want to get into a situation where we've got to have a lot of enforcement activity. And one thing we want to stress to our Pirate fans that are coming to any of our venues and any of our athletic competition is remember the optics. If we have a tailgate going on here in the Jungle lot and we have groups of 50 people gathered around, that's poor optics. It goes against everything that we're trying to say we're trying to do to protect and keep our fan base safe, and it's going to hamper what we want to be able to do, which is move forward. So that, I hope explains what our role will be moving forward. Now, for those coming to the game, You'll have tickets and you'll have parking passes. If you don't have a parking pass, you won't be able to get in to these lots that will be controlled for game day. There will be one general admission lot over at the Carroll Belt building. But if you don't have tickets and you're not coming to the game, tailgate is not open for you. Enjoy the game, watch it at home, watch it in a restaurant in a small setting, and pull hard for the Pirates. But please don't come out and try to set up a tailgate lot and try to tailgate during the game in some satellite area, because that's not something that we can allow.
Will fans be allowed to, I know a lot of people in the Jungle, they come to their cars and they eat during the game. When you enter the stadium, are you required to stay in the stadium, or can they come back out?
They can cross back and forth into the parking lot, similar to what they've been able to do in the past. And again, our fans naturally want to gravitate to other Pirates, whether it's to talk about a play that they just saw or to just catch up because we haven't seen each other in so long. But that's where we have to continue to force ourselves to be responsible in our behavior, to stay separate as much as possible, but then continue to support the Pirates.
You're excited. You know, it's returning back to some normalcy. So what does this feel like? You know, I mean, you guys do have a commitment to the safety of these people, but, you know, you're also excited to be back in with your team and back with the fans. So what are your hopes going forward?
This is the most normal thing that I have done in almost a year. A little over a year ago, maybe 11 and a half months from where we were a year ago, we were sending everybody home. And now we've got students back on campus. We've got students in our dorms. A couple of weeks ago, we had less than a 1% infectious rate with the pandemic. So our students are really doing what we've been asking them to do. Over the spring semester in comparison with the fall semester, we've seen a reduced amount of large gatherings and off-campus locations where students live. And so that shows that they're also committed. So I'm excited for where we're at and for where we're going. I had a goal at the beginning of this semester to be able to have an in-person spring commencement where we can celebrate our graduates, and we're inching closer to that every single week. And it would make me as excited as anybody on this campus to be able to have a regional here, and our team is playing great. We do things the right way and the safe way, and we set the benchmark across the country, then it puts us in a very good spot to be a potential host site.